go to the top.
He's been riding by I think not a very easy terrain.
It's a long time.
So he's doing well. He's well used to that. That's his job.
Question from Bill Thompson: are any riders using 3D printed saddles?
Yes, actually, but done by the. Well, you kind of see them. They're usually the ones being full leather. So I can't tell you from until they get out of the saddle, but would have 3D printed saddle.
Not just for comfort, so the rider just fits on the saddle better.
No, they don't shape your if you want to put it that way.
That's what I was wondering.
No.
No? Okay.
No, it still looks like a saddle.
It still looks like a saddle.
You recognize them because they usually, instead of having the leather on, usually like the material shape.
And they're done for lightness, or?
I would say more for lightness. But I don't think there's many riders with them. Just by looking now at most of the riders out of the saddle, a lot of the saddles are still the traditional ones. With the problem is with 3D printed stuff. And I also think there is a use. Not sell a 3D printed or advertise the sales of a 3D print on their webpage, you cannot have a 3D printed saddle at home. When you go in a different topic with staying on the 3D printed stuff is the TT bars, where most top riders will have 3D printed TT bars. The way to get around this law is they just say, well, if you want to call us and I'll give you Ghana's 3D printed cockpit, it's going to cost you 100,000 euros, but it's not going to fit you. So it's a way, 3D printing, way of getting around the rule of prototypes that you can't sell on the web page. So you just put, I'm a 3D printing company that does handlebars, and I'm sponsoring Net Company. Well, you're doing fine. And I think it was, if you remember, I think it was Adam Hansen who had doing that with his shoes.
He did, yeah. Making shoes.
He was one of the first riders who really started going to going towards 3D printed. See that? No, it is at launch already.
Yep.
But anyway, so he started doing that, and I remember he was asked by the UCI that it had to be for sale, so he.
And he was trying to get around the rules all the time. What was it he rode? 18 Grand Tours in a row? In his career. The rules and how to accommodate what the riders want, and also has to deal with times with equipment, all sorts of things. You quite often see him at a race, don't you? I see him quite often.
Yeah, I haven't seen him in a while now, but I do know he's here. We're starting to see some of the sprinters getting dropped on this climb.
They are, aren't they? Tim Mallier going out.
It looks like they're just pacing themselves. See the formation of a little gruppetto. Oh, that was close there. He was trying to put a bottle in his pocket while to the young kids on the side of the road. Lenny Martinez.
Get off out of the saddle, move a little bit. No stress in any of these riders at the moment, but there are sprinters going out of the back.
Yeah, they will be doing fine today. Because again, we're at close to 40 minutes plus of time. They're dropped now at 80 kilometers to go. They're still perfectly fine. Loads of time. They're not going to do usual 1 kilometer, the kilometer, 30 kilometer. They're perfectly safe. What's them is if they regroup on 2s and 3s.
The col de Coudon. Martinez quite happy just to sit near the back of the group at the moment. His smile face today. Didn't have a smile on his face yesterday at times. My understanding is he didn't have any brakes, I was told. And that's what he was getting annoyed about, because he wasn't safe as he pedals his way up round the outside, or his brakes weren't working the way that he wanted them to work anyway. He's riding well. Finished 13th yesterday. He lost 12 seconds in the end. But Martinez is now 8th overall. Down in the general qualification. Doesn't to lose 2 seconds here, a few seconds there.
Yeah, I think he'll be in the shape to be back at a kind of around 8th to 12th position. So somehow I managed to read that this bike was close to 200 grams lighter than. So it looks like they've added stuff. The total weight of the bike is actually lighter than the bike they used during the year.
How have they achieved that?
So somehow I managed to read that this bike was close to 200 grams here and lighter than the other bike there. Although, yeah. And lighter than the one they used during the year.
I'm going to find out.
But in reading the wrong article now.
2.8 kilometers to go to the top of the climb. Thank you for joining us for today's stage of the Tour de France. We've had lots of messages at Macross and at Nicholas Roach. For those of you messaging, thank you very much. I must just say hello to Julie, Jill, Mike and Lindsay, and to Susie Guillaume. Thank you very much for being in touch. We talked about the printed saddles. We'll talk about other subjects on the run into the finish line, although things are starting to change a little bit. Track is on the attack. They are now 34 seconds ahead of the It means that Torsten Train is getting very, very close now to being the virtual jersey this race. He's sitting a little bit further back, but I wonder at what point he realizes that he's now leading the Tour of the Road.
Oh, he's told.
He will be told.
In the article, in the interview of Vok, he sums it very well. Sometimes the bigger team is not specifically about having money to spend and throw away. It's just better information stuff. And the rider is interested in just focusing on training. Well, no, rider training is the basic. Every rider there trains.
Okay.
You're capable of training faster or slower. That's your DNA. But everyone in this peloton trains. The difference is the amount of thinking that you have to do. And what's really funny about this younger generation, because I had an argument with Sunweb, DSM, when I was leaving, because they told me I questioned things too much. And it's funny where Vauquelin was just happy to be told what he needs to do. And that's what he was saying in his article. I like this team because I'm told what I need to do is my training.
Okay.
Where I was asking, okay, you're changing my training. Why am I doing pole when I did Zone 2 on my career with 20 minutes of threshold? And why am I now at the age of 36 or 37? And they were like, yeah, well, we're not going to tell you because I don't understand, looking back, why I didn't want to share information. They pay a lot of money for coaching. Every team will have their investments on coaches, nutritionists, and whatever. If you share your knowledge knowledge, you're sharing it basically with the next team transfer. So they're bringing all the knowledge that you're them to another team. Saying that but it's extra information that you're sharing.